Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Accountable Podcast. I am so grateful you're here and super pumped that you are here to listen to this episode because I get to share research results with you. And this has been a project I've been working on since earlier this year. It has been a huge project that I have taken on, and it started with a question that I had on a walk earlier in the year. And I thought, I wonder if personality traits are connected to how people like to be held accountable. That led to such a big project, which I am super excited to share all the results from today. Because really, I thought certainly this information is out there. And so I went to Google, went to ChatGPT, and couldn't find it. And when I realized, oh, this research hasn't been done, I thought, well, I'll do it. And you're talking to someone who's done one research project in her whole life. Well, maybe some smaller ones in school, but I wrote a thesis when I went to grad school, and that was a big project. It takes a few years to get it done. And I thought, okay, I'll just go back to my grad school days and I'll figure this out. And it was an interesting project, and I am still working on the process of trying to get it published. We're going to see. So fingers crossed, I'll keep you posted if this happens. But I really went at this project, this research project, and starting with that question from an academic standpoint. And the reason I did this is because I thought if I'm going to go down this path of looking at conducting research, I want to do it in the most scientific way possible so that it's not my opinion. I want the data to speak for itself, and I want to see what's on the other side of this and then put in my coaching experience. So I'm looking at both qualitative and quantitative data and looking at it from that lens. I really wanted it to be as solid as possible. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to think for any second that this is only my thoughts. This is actual data that has math behind it, and you can read the entire research report, the academic one as well as the fun one if you'd like to. And so I'll make sure all the links are there. But I wanted to tell you this so that you don't think, which is Amanda did put a survey out and that was it. It did include a survey, but I went about it in the way that a actual researcher at a university would go about it. Now, I don't have the resources that people have at universities, but I did go about it in this way so that it would be as credible as possible. And at the end, I'm going to tell you of what came on the other side. So after all of this data, I actually created my own framework called the hero roles. And just like any other personality assessment, you'll be able to take a quiz, find out what role that fits your personality and what accountability will help you. I'm super excited to share this. It's very exciting for me and hopefully incredibly helpful for you, which is what I created this entire thing for. So stay tuned to the end of this. I want to share all the research first, and then I'll talk about those hero roles. So like I said, I wanted to go about this in an academic way. So I had to hit a specific number of people on the survey in terms of getting responses, and I needed it to be across different industries. I needed it to be non-incentivized, anonymous, all of those things. And so in the end, I had 116 women take this survey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are one of those 116, because I don't know who you are because it's anonymous, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I know that taking surveys is not the most fun thing in the world. And I recognize I could give you nothing to incentivize this, and you put your time in, and I just really appreciate it. And I want you to know that because as I've been working on this for months and months and months now, I appreciate everything that you gave to me. You gave me such great information. I just want to thank you so, so much. I wish I could bring you all into a room and give you some amazing gifts and tell you how much I appreciate it. But because I don't know your names, I'm just going to say thank you. Thank you so much. And I just really appreciate it because it did make this a solid research study because it was anonymous and really wide in terms of information. So the age range was from 20 to 73. We had a big age range, which is exciting, and different industries were represented. A few of the top ones were marketing, wellness, consulting, healthcare, education, and finance. So those were a few that there were quite a few results within that because you all told me what types of businesses you run. Most of you, so almost half, the majority of you had businesses running for 5 years or more. So we're talking about seasoned business owners, which is very exciting. And all of them were really insightful. So a lot of it, there were some questions that were multiple choice and a lot were qualitative. So your actual words were in there. And that's what gave me such rich data. So thank you again for your time. Now, there is one resounding result that I'm going to share right now, and then I'll get into the nitty-gritty of all the different personality assessments. But this is the big one. Are you ready for it, my friend? Okay. 81% of people said, I like to hold myself accountable, but only 6% of people said, I can hold myself accountable. That's the big aha. Okay, so when I went into this, I had that hypothesis. It was proven, which is very interesting. And here's what I know from the coaching side and why I went into this is I was like, I think that there's something here related to personality types possibly that women think that they should be able to do this on their own and they can't, and they're feeling shame around it. This is like what I experience on a real level when I talk to women all the time. And I thought, I wonder if there's some data around this. So that's when I really went into it. And so I just need you to know that you're not alone. If you've ever experienced that feeling of, dang it, why can't I get this project across the finish line? Why can't I do it? Why can't I? I know I've been able to do other things. I don't know why I can't do this. If you've experienced that tension, there's 81% of these 116 women that said the same thing. And they were like, I really like to do this, but yet I know external accountability is what helps me. And I just need you to hear that because I know that so many of us feel like we're the only ones that can't hold ourselves accountable. And it's not that you can't. You can. You've done it in a lot of ways. Here's the kicker. What I experienced with the qualitative data, which is the words, so not the multiple choice like numbers, the words of like when I ask questions like what helps you follow through, what I learned is that when goals are high, like high for you is different than high for someone else, when you're pushing yourself to a new limit, or when life is very difficult because of whatever, health, family, relationships, whatever, when life is hard and or the goal is hard, external accountability is incredibly helpful. Personal accountability can get you really far in life. You can hold yourself accountable. But when things are really tough, it is unbelievable what external accountability can do. Now, this is not rocket science. I recognize this. However, I wanted to do the data to say this is what's happening. And I say this because we have experienced this and we see it all around us. Do Olympic athletes have a coach? Yeah, they do. No one's worried about that. There's no shame in getting a coach when you're an athlete. There's no shame in going to school and paying for an education and having a teacher, right? That's paid accountability. You are paying for structure and you go and you get that certificate and you are proud of that certificate. But for some reason, when it comes to goals, we are so proud of doing it on our own. And you're talking to the person who loves being independent. So I'm here for it. But there are no gold stars for doing this alone. That's all I have to say. I could probably stop it right here, but I'm not. I'm going to tell you about the rest of this, but we have to recognize that it's okay to get support. And this was what I saw over and over and over in the data. But I want to tell you more about the actual data. But that was the overall result, is that we feel like we should be able to do something, and yet we know external accountability is what helps us, but we still really cling to that. We wish we could do it on our own. So how it connects to personality types is interesting. So I actually included 13 types of personality assessments. I know, 13. You're like, what? There was a lot in there. There was a lot of data. And there's 4 that really rose to the top, whether it be because of the popularity of that assessment or the connection to accountability. Some of these things, like a lot of people knew about zodiac signs, but that doesn't tell you a ton about accountability, whereas another assessment like 4 tendencies is the most correlated to accountability because it tells you about internal and external expectations. So that is the closest one. Spoiler alert there. 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. Shout out to Gretchen. Love this one. She has the closest one that's to accountability in terms of what types of internal or external expectations help us follow through. So that's really helpful. But the 4 assessments that I really dug deeper into and are in the research report. So I had the 13 and then I whittled it down to 4 that were the most connected, was Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, 4 Tendencies and Human Design. So let me tell you a little bit about those because these were really fun. So remember, there was 116 women who took this survey. Of those who knew about Enneagram, 24% were type 3. This was an interesting one. Type 3 is the achiever. And so 23% fell into that bucket, which was the highest. So everyone else was scattered. I did have someone in all 9 categories of Enneagram, which is amazing. And so what this means is that type 3 is the high drive for success, productivity, and personal excellence. So of course, 81% are like, yes, I got it. I can do it on my own, right? Also, the next 2 types were type 1 and type 6. So those also came up. Those were the top 3 out of all the Enneagrams. Across the board with type 3, 1, and 6, we're showing really strong themes of ambitious, mission-driven women who care deeply about doing things the right way and protecting others. So that's the categories of Enneagram that are predominantly in my audience that took this in and surrounding my audience, because people outside of my audience took this assessment as well, or survey. The next is Myers-Briggs. So this one shocked me. I was very shocked at this one. Like I probably would have, if I was a betting woman, I would have lost on this one. But it makes sense once I know it. 58%, so obviously more than half. 58% of people who responded identified as introverts. And I don't know why this one shocked me so much, but it did. And I was really surprised by this. And then 83% favor intuition over sensing. Now, if you don't know about Myers-Briggs, Myers-Briggs talks about how we make decisions, how we interact with others. There's 4 different categories. And so introvert, extrovert, most people know those. But intuition is like how you're making decisions, right? If you're trusting your intuition and going with that gut feeling. And it was just really interesting to look at the different categories. So like more like 2/3 were feelers versus thinkers. So more like looking at data in different ways. And 85% preferred judging versus perceiving, which is another, like the words are a little bit different. You'll have to dive deep into the research paper for this. But it was interesting to see like, okay, most people are introverts and they're trusting that intuition, they're feeling versus thinking, they're all these different things. So what it told me is that it confirmed again that strategic, thoughtful, mission-driven women with a love for systems. So the systems really came up in this one, which was really interesting. So we've got Enneagram, highly driven women, Myers-Briggs, thoughtful, mission-driven. So we're solidifying this. 4 tendencies, not as many people knew about it. So this is the caveat here. I pulled in 4 tendencies because of its correlation to accountability, but not as many people knew about 4 tendencies. So shout out to Gretchen Rubin. You got to go take her quiz too. I'm going to tell you about my quiz. I want you to take hers too, because I love hers. It's fantastic. It's a great way of learning about how you look at expectations from yourself and from others. And so 30% that responded to my survey were upholders. These are people who meet both internal and external expectations. And the rest were evenly split between questioners, obligers, and rebels. And so what this says is that 1, I need more data on this one, but 2 is that it's really a range of accountability styles. And so it confirmed more for me when I read through that was, okay, it's really kind of evenly split. There's more upholders, but not too much more. And I thought, okay, it really confirms the fact that everyone's a little bit different here. And we're going to need different styles for different people. So that really helped me see like, okay, we're really looking at different styles. There's no way there's a cookie cutter situation. And so that helped, really validate that. And then human design, I pulled in because it's gaining in popularity. People are really asking a lot about human design. So I made sure to pull this one in, but it wasn't the most well-known. Enneagram and Myers-Briggs were the most well-known of the 116 people. But human design, if you're curious about this, generators made up over half of the respondents. So 53% were generators. Generators have like that, lots of energy. You can generate ideas, you can generate energy, that sort of thing. Manifesting generators, and then projectors were next. So 53 generators, 53%, followed by manifesting generators, and then projectors. And the high number of projectors were pretty interesting for me too. I've had a lot of my clients have been projectors, which have been really interesting. So that has been helpful to kind of see. But this also looks at like, okay, well, people have lots of ideas, but struggle with follow through. Makes sense when it comes to human design, right? Generators, you have a lot of ideas, struggle with follow through. So same thing with manifesting generators, same thing there. And projectors think a lot before taking action. So you can get really stuck there. So overall, we're looking at the majority of women who took this survey, right, are ambitious, strategic, and growth oriented, yet they still struggle with follow through. And so I was like, okay, this confirms everything that I've experienced as the coach that has navigated this with other people. And so it really solidified everything. It's very interesting. Now I have the data to back it up in terms of my own data. So now you're like, okay, you told us all this stuff, but what does that mean about accountability? So what I did was I looked at, okay, we've got all these personality types and all this data that says all these women are ambitious and driven and all of these things, and they're struggling with this idea of I should be able to do it, but I can't. And I'm feeling all these things. And I thought, okay, what I need to do is marry this idea and connect this idea of accountability and where we get stuck in the cycle of change, behavior change. Now, I'll probably do an entire episode on behavior change and the model. So it's called the theoretical model of change. And I've really dug deep because what I realized is that when we are achieving goals, we are trying to make a change in our life. Now, that change could be, I want to be consistent with blogging on my website, or I want to drink more water in my life. I want to start a business. I want to grow the business. Whatever the case is, we're making a change, and change is very difficult. So what I did was I said, okay, well, do certain personalities get stuck at certain places in that model of change? The answer is yes. You very much, depending on your personality type, you can get stuck in different ways. This is going to make a lot of sense when I say this. Some people who love data and information can get stuck in analysis paralysis, which is my word, analysis paralysis, for one of the phases of change, which is the preparation or contemplation. Could be either one. Contemplation or preparation phase. That's where you're digging for information, and you can just hang out there forever and never take action, right? Those are the overthinkers. Those people that are like, I just can't make a decision to move forward. And we all know, whether it's ourselves or someone like that, there's also other people who love taking action, don't really do as much of the digging. They run towards action, they take action super fast, and they also get bored. And so they move on to something else. And so then they're in a different phase, right? And so you can see how it would make sense that one person would get stuck in information overload. Another person is taking action the whole time. Another person's getting really bored with anything, so they're just switching. And so what I did here, I swear I'm bringing it back. Let me just do a recap. I did a research project. I found that 81% of the women who submitted their information felt like they should be able to hold themselves accountable, yet only 6% said that that's the thing that worked. I then looked at personality types and said, does this really align with the types of personalities who took this assessment or took the survey? The answer is yes, it did align. And then I said, well, where do people get stuck? At this point, I realized, okay, I can come up with the types of people and putting categories together, which I decided to call the hero roles. And this tells you, the hero roles framework actually tells you how you naturally approach goals, big ones, things that feel outside of your comfort zone, how you naturally approach them, where you are most likely going to get stuck, and the support that will help you follow through even when it's hard. So that's what I did. And I looked at, is there a way to do this? And it was interesting. I fought a lot with myself on this because part of me really struggles with the idea of saying, you are this type of person. Because I don't believe that anyone is one thing. I believe that we have seasons of life, and I believe that we naturally have some tendencies, but not everything that works for, like, you can't fit into a box. You can't fit into a category. So I really struggled with this idea of coming up with this. But here's what I ultimately believe when I take it down to another level, and it is that I truly believe that you are the hero of your own story. No one else is going to save you. I believe that you can do it. I believe that you are the only one who knows what you want, and that you can be the hero of your own story. But you can be the hero in a way that works for you if you know how you're wired. If you know, without a shadow of a doubt, this is who I am, these are the roadblocks I most likely am going to encounter, and this is the support that I could use. And being okay with all of that. And also being okay with the fact of, you know what, in a different season, I might lean towards another role. And that's okay too, because things change. And so what I have done is I've come up with 4 hero roles. And the hero is HERO. So it stands for, it's an acronym here. So we've got H, which is the helper, E, which is the explorer, R, which is the runner, and O, which is the originator. You lean towards one most of the time. However, you can experience others. So I put together a quiz. I have the assessment. You get to take it. It's so fun. You get to find out which one you are, and guess what? And when you download that PDF, guess what's in there? All 4 roles. I am not going to make you take that test 4 times, because I know if you're anything like me, you want to know about all 4. And you're curious and you're like, I just want to know. But also because I know that you can change from one role to another. You have one that you're predominant for sure. However, there are going to be different seasons of life, and there's going to be different moments where you need different things. And so what I want you to do is to enjoy this research that I put together for you. Take the quiz and figure out which hero role you are. And I want you to know that you do not fit in a box. You are not tied to this forever. You can go from one role to the other. But here's what it's going to tell you. You're going to download this PDF once you get through the quiz, which is super fun. It's not a long quiz. It's really fun. Easy questions, okay? All you got to do is be honest about yourself. That's all you got to do. Easy questions, answer it, you get the PDF. You download it, and what you're going to see inside this PDF is you're going to see where you're naturally going to get stuck. You're going to see how you approach goals naturally. And you're going to see what support is going to give you the best result. Not only do I say, yes, you would, because spoiler alert, every single person can benefit from a therapist or a coach, okay? We just all know that, or mentor. One-on-one support is going to apply to everyone because it's tailored to you, right? But we also need to think about what are the other ways that we can get it. If one-on-one, whether it's a buddy, a mentor, a coach, a therapist, across the board, whether it's that or it's like, I really like group programs, that's great. Well, in this PDF, it tells you what type of group program to look for you. I went a step further, my friend. I went further because I was like, people are going to be like, what else? What can I do? And on this note, if you want something else, tell me. I'll add it to the PDF if I can, if it makes sense, right? But the other thing is that I tell you specific questions to ask. Specific questions. If you are going to talk to someone to work with you one-on-one, whether it's me or someone else, or you're going to look at a group program, or you're going to look at a mastermind, or you're going to look to create a peer mastermind, not even paid, you're creating it yourself or whatever, questions to ask so that you know what support to get. Because this is the thing that I have seen over and over and over and over again. I know that paid accountability and peer accountability help you when things are hard. I know it because that's what I get paid to do. And I talk to so many people. I know this works. The struggle is, how do I find the right support? And that's what I wanted you to know. I wanted you to go through this and say, okay, this is the type of person that I am when it relates to goals very specifically. And not only is this who I am, this is the roadblocks that I'm most likely going to encounter. And these are the questions I need to look for when it comes to getting the support that I need. I wanted you to have the roadmap to get the support you need. As you can tell, I love helping people achieve goals. If I feel like a good fit, by all means, please find out how we can work together. If I don't, please find the support that you need. Find the therapist, find the mentor, find the group. I don't care what it is. It's like, find the thing. Find the thing. And this tells you exactly how to find it. It tells you this is what you need and this is what you got to do. So I want you to go and take the quick quiz to figure out which hero role you are. And all you have to do is go to amandamckinney.com/quiz. And so what I'm going to do is make sure I'll have everything in the show notes for the research report. I will put the academic one out if you would like to read it. I'm going to tell you ahead of time. If you've never read a research report, it's boring. Okay, that's what it's supposed to be. So please don't come at me and be like, Amanda, you should really change this research report to make it easier to read. That's not what it's there for, right? I got a pretty PDF so that you can see that. But if you want the full-on thing, it's there too. I'm going to give everyone access to this so you can see it. And you can, please give me credit where credit is due. If you're going to talk about it, like share it, tag me, do these things, but you'll be able to see the actual research and see it put together. But here's the overall thing that I really want you to walk away with when it comes to thinking about who you are and how you approach goals. Number one, no matter what your personality type, you're awesome. You're amazing. There's strengths that you have that other people don't have and totally wish they did. Everyone has strengths of how you approach goals. And also, everyone has roadblocks that they're going to encounter. If you can anticipate anything that might hit you, if you're the person who tends to overthink, like, let's get in front of that, okay? And not have any shame about it. Just recognize this is who I am, these are the roadblocks, and this is the support that really helps me when I'm pushing myself into a new level or life is really hard. I just want us to remove the shame and the guilt that comes around getting the support that we need when we're pushing ourselves to new levels. And this goes for each and every one of us, myself included. And so I really want you to remember that, and remember that you can do this. You've done amazing things in this life and will continue to. But there's going to be times where external support is going to be helpful, and I want you to go get that support when you want it. Thank you again to everyone who helped me in this research project. Thank you. If you share it, please do. Please share. It's like a fun assessment. I would love for more people to take it, because guess what? On the other side of the assessment is more data for me. The more people who take this assessment, the more people that I can work with in these different categories, the more tools, the more information that I can create related to this and give back to you. So please share this. Tag me on Instagram if you do, or LinkedIn, or wherever you are. Please share it with tons of people. I would love for it. It's completely free, and you get lots of resources on the back end. Once you get that PDF, you'll get a few emails. There's a pep talk in there that's just for you. It's not here on the podcast. It's not anywhere else. It's an audio pep talk that you can download and keep until your heart's content. There's a phone background. There's all kinds of fun things on the back end. If you're listening to this live, who knows in the future what's going to be on the back end of that. But go and get the resources that are tailored to you and your hero type. And remember that you are the hero of your own story. But you approach goals differently than anyone else. And so you got to know about yourself, know about those roadblocks, and get the support that you need. So thank you so much for listening to this fun research report episode. And I'll see you next time, and keep being accountable.